Richard Evans from the Malthouse Group, and we help member-based associations become more productive by working with them and their senior executives to think about some of the important things that really get their reputation and their relevance and their revenues growing. Now, I know that with over 30 years experience as a elected official with member-based associations and also as a consultant to them and also as a salaried employee, I know that it's not easy being a leader of a member-based association. There's a lot of things pulling you from one way or another, and it's never easy achieving results, although they are expected every year by everyone involved. And I know it's not easy being a leader, and it can be lonely within a member-based association for the burden that you carry. So I want to salute you for the job that you're doing, and I wish you well in 2015. Now, as 2015 kicks off, I assume there's a number of challenges associated with you and also your organisation. Some of those challenges could be in the way you do business and the business model that you're working towards. But I think primarily it's about members being inspired to use your services, to use your products, and to use your programs. And I guess the other thing that's really challenging these days is the influence that you have within government, be it federal, state, local government, or indeed the community, because member-based associations are very different. They're industry associations, they're professional associations, they're sporting groups, and also their community associations. So we have a whole range of different needs that each of those associations have. Another challenge, I guess, is working in a flexible and fickle market right now. It's very challenging at the moment because everyone's looking at their dollars and where they're investing their money. And that's one of the great challenges, I think, for member-based associations, is working towards working out just exactly what the real major benefits might be for them for 2015. Now, over the summer break, although it wasn't much summer in Melbourne, I can tell you, but aside from growing a beard, which my beautiful wife wants me to keep for a while, I'm not sure about that, but I'm listening to my wife, I got to thinking about my career with member-based associations and what has really worked for me. And there's two clear things. The first is having a really good, approachable board. Now, a lot of folks get on the board for whatever reason it might be, and they want to get actively involved in operations. But what I've found working with the board, when we're focused on strategy, we get more things done. And I've had the pleasure of working with and helping to grow really good, responsive boards. And the ones that I've worked with tend to listen to what you're trying to do, tend to listen to and agree with the strategy you're trying to implement. And that's one of the reasons why I think I've done fairly well. The other is effective planning. And without question, it's very easy to let things go the way things we've always done. But I found as a leader in member associations and also as an employee within member associations, planning becomes a vital aspect of what we do. And some of the things that really challenge us with that is actually doing it. And I've been in to do some pro bono work on some sporting associations and clubs, etc. And I found that they haven't even got a plan. They're all committed, they're really willing and able, but they haven't got a plan they're working to. And that's not uncommon. Yet every management program that I've been to stresses the importance, and I'm sure you know it as well, the importance of planning. But I confess, sometimes it's been difficult for me, and I know it's been difficult for a lot of other managers as well. So if there's one message I want to give you, and that is you've got to be on top of this planning process on a regular basis. And it's not about what you're doing now, it's about really the future and the legacy that you will leave the organisation you're leading. So I've come to realise that there's 6 realities associated with facing member-based associations, and I've done that through working with within the sector, but also dealing with a lot of leaders of other associations. So during Chile, Melbourne, during the summer, I decided to put together a short ebook on the 6 realities facing member associations, and I've asked some really poignant questions that leaders should ask, and I've also given a number of recommendations as to what they could do to in fact address these 6 realities. Now I've written, as I said, an ebook, and I've done it below. So if you click on the button below, it'll take you straight to a PDF, and you can get a copy of that for absolutely free. There's no secret squirrel stuff associated with the button. So it's there waiting for you to have a look at. And I'd like to talk about some of the things that I've reflected upon, and these are the things that have helped me over the period of time. Now, the sorts of things that I've done is that I've had 30 years within member-based associations, as I said before, as elected chairman, as president, as a director, as an executive director, as managing director, and even just working for industry associations in communication and advocacy and a whole range of different things. And I've also listened to a number of other association leaders. But it's helped me to have an impact upon the organisations that I've been dealing with. Who would have thought that I was able to get a board that was responsive and really focus on planning? But I've been able to double revenue. I've been able to double profit. I've been able to increase membership by a factor of 3. I've been able to change their entire communication plans. I've been able to get education platforms set up and relevant to the market. And I've been able to influence government as well in terms of intervention within the market with the Howard government, with Rudd, Gillard, and even Abbott governments as well. So I've got a little bit of knowledge associated with this particular issue, and I want to share those with you right now. The ultimate thing is about planning, and I would recommend that you are now working towards doing your budgets for next year and getting in place strategic planning in place, working with your board to help you. So let's go through what these realities might be. Reality number 1, in my view, is survival needs a strategy. Let me just say to you that Peter Drucker is a management guru. You've probably heard of him. He said the best way to predict the future is create it. And you create it through good strategic planning. Now let me ask you this. Have you got key indicators of growth, and how do you measure them? How do you align your services and your products and your programs to your current vision and your strategy? Have you got that in place? And do you have a strategic plan which you do or review on a quarterly basis? Now I do my strategic plans over a quarter, and I'm not expecting you to do that. But if you have one for a long time, and then you have your business plans yearly, then you can review it on a regular basis. I do mine quarterly. Now, one of the things that member associations really need is to focus in on this strategy and bringing together the leaders of that group, the stakeholders that you bring together as a board, and getting them to identify what the key result areas might be and building that into where you want to go. Some people don't want to go anywhere. They want to hang on to the way things have always been. And this is a danger, because I think what it does is it can actually withhold you from the marketplace, and your members start thinking about doing other things and going elsewhere. So think about what you do. My recommendation is that you have a 5-year strategic plan in place. Now I can I know what you're thinking. 5 years? You are kidding me. Come on, 5 years, that's so hard. Not if you follow a strategy in place that can actually put that in place. And that's working with your board and understanding what your strategy is. And then you come back from the 5-year plan into your 2-year plan and then into your 1-year plan. It's easy to do if you do it on a regular basis and you understand the key drivers in your organisation. Now, my suggestion also is that you do a strategic update and you let members know, and indeed sponsors know, what you're doing. And the reason for that is because they want to know what's going on. Big things at the moment in politics about communicating, and I think what we as leaders have to do is communicate with our members. And the other thing I would recommend you do as well is tie in your strategy into your board agendas and your board reporting. So they are all focused on what the strategy is. They are all focused on where the organisation's going. And they're not that interested in on how much or who's drinking the coffee. Get them off operations, get them into strategy, and I think that will be very helpful for you. Reality number 2 is attitudes change, so must yours. Look, if you don't change, you're going to be exactly the way you've always been. And if you're exactly the way you've always been, the market's going to leave you behind. The community's going to leave you behind. And we are generally conservative people, Australians, and we don't necessarily like change. We don't like change. Yet, and the loudest voices sometimes are the ones that are always saying, why do we have to do that? Why can't we do it the same way we've always done? If you do it the same way you've always done, guess what? You'll always get the things that you've always got. My view is that if you want to grow and prosper, and it's important that you think about doing that because it's important for your members and the community that you deal in, that you've got to grow and prosper, and the only way to do that is be open to change. And one good way of doing that is to listen to your members, find out what they want, and give them what they want. And a lot of folks within member associations tend to think they know everything, and so therefore they don't go and listen to members. And again, can I point to the political environment around the place at the moment where folks are crying out to be let know what's going on, so you listen to what we're doing. And unfortunately, leaders, even though they've been elected to do it, tend to ignore communicating. And I think that's the best way to find out about what attitude is. Attitudes change, you must change. So I would suggest to you, consider to have a member engagement plan in place where you're communicating on a regular basis. I'd also get an advocacy strategy going as well with your federal, state and local council. Now, you may think that advocacy is not important, but it is. And it's not just government, it's also other community leaders and other associations that you actually deal with. You need an advocacy plan. And I would also suggest to you that one of the things about changing attitudes is that if you just ignore it, it won't go away. And my suggestion to you is that you continually think about change. And leaders, good leaders just like you, always think about the future. And as Drucker says, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So work on that. The third reality is, and this is so difficult to get around a lot of member associations, is that membership will diminish. And the reason for that is that members want to have a return on their investment. If they don't see any value in joining, if they're not required to join, then they'll start thinking about going elsewhere. And the question I ask you is how often do you measure and monitor membership growth and retention rates? Are you in fact doing it? What products and services are you offering? Are they the same ones you were doing 5 years ago, or have you improved it and have it more relevant? And I think that's an issue that a lot of member associations need to do. No matter what you are, whether you're a community group, whether you're a sporting club or association, or whether you're a professional association, you've got to constantly think about the relevance to your membership base. And also sponsors. I mean, sponsors want to have access. So what are you doing about sponsorship? What are you doing about giving them the right return on investment for them as well? Now, members are the lifeblood of your association. Sponsors aren't going to come to you if you haven't got any members. In fact, the organisation will die unless you have membership revenue. The point is you need to have a strong membership, and you need to be always thinking about building your membership. And that means sometimes you've got to be a membership, a service provider. The trap is, once you start becoming a service provider, you'll be judged on price. And so therefore you've got to be building an organisation that is exclusive, high value, and focused on relevance to your members. Otherwise, guess what? They'll look everywhere, look somewhere else. Because the services that you may in fact offer are available commercially somewhere else. And it's much easier to tap into that now. So my view is that you should be continually engaging with your membership, asking them what they want and giving them what they want. So have a good engagement plan. Have a good sponsorship and sponsorship development plan. And always ensure that your database is up to date. Now, I'm amazed, gobsmacked by the fact that some member associations still operate on Excel spreadsheets as their membership or Access database. My goodness, it's good, but it's not good enough. And good is not good enough. My view is that CRM programs, membership database programs are cheap and available now. Start looking at improving and interfacing it into your programs. You'll be much better off when you start doing that. Reality number 4 is social media is smart, not stupid. If you're like me, you've been pushing back on social media, Twitter, Facebook. Who cares what Shane Warne had for breakfast, right? Yet that was the image teenagers and others who wanted to get some sort of celebrity were doing some years ago. But I've got to tell you, I've learned. Over the last 2 or 3 years, things have changed, and they've changed rapidly. Now, instead of Mark Zuckerberg and the Facebook thing, we now not only have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Pinterest, we have Tumblr, we have YouTube, we have LinkedIn, and we have things all over the place. And what is now happening is that it's not just teenagers, it's everyone. You see them on trains, trams, buses, cars, walking down the street. They go on their exercise and they've got their social media with them to do everything and anything that they want. Now, unless we get part of that process, then we are going to be left behind. And I can tell you, it's a great challenge. It's been a challenge for me, and I'm sure it's a challenge for you. But the point is, we have to lift ourselves above just chatter and get into some strategic working with it. Because these things, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, can help you increase your business. And what you have to do is start thinking about it differently, thinking about it strategically, and start getting into it a little bit. One of the great problems, I guess, is that sometimes we, in particular me, haven't considered it to be any good at all. But I've changed my mind. I've seen what social media can do. I've seen how it creates a conversation, because remember, we're in the connection revolution at the moment, not the industrial revolution, the connection revolution. It's about building platform, it's about being connected, and these social media sites can do it for you. It's not really relevant the way how you think about it, or indeed your board, how they think about it. What really is relevant is how your members are using it and how your potential members are using it. And my suggestion to you is they are using it, so get across the social media and start using it as a strategy. And so therefore what I would suggest you do is that you review what others in your sector are doing and see what they're doing. Then talk about it with your board and see what their views are about building a social media platform. And then I think probably the best idea is to devise a social media plan, a strategy, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. These things are almost there for nothing. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get actively involved, and you'd be surprised that some of your staff are probably more than willing to get involved with you. So start treating social media. It's not so social anymore, it's very much strategic, so get onto it. The fifth reality is the continuation of the fourth, really, and that's about IT. You are now the nerd. You are the nerd, not those gurus that we used to have. We might as well retire them. Look, it was only a couple of years ago I was worried about air conditioning units for my servers, and now I don't use a server anymore. It's up in the cloud, whatever that is. But the point is, 2 or 3 years ago, no one was using clouds. Now we are. Right now, we are using devices and tools and software programs that can do anything for us. Anything and everything. There are software applications that can make your life so much better. And the question is, do you know what they are? And the other question is what sort of devices are you using? Are we locked into these desktops and we're not very mobile? Because everything now is interconnected and we don't need the gurus as we once do. Sure, we need technical advice. Sure, we need some technical support when the things go crash. But the point being is you don't necessarily need that as much with the money that you've been paying in the past. So pay attention to the tools. They're there to help you. Don't be afraid of them. Go and find them because they can make you more productive. And look, do an audit on what you've got. Do an audit to see how effective they are. Get rid of what you don't need and start investing in things that are making you more productive. And the first thing you can do, of course, is to look at your CRM program. I'm just gobsmacked how some people are still using Excel or Access, and as I said before, you really need to start working on the tools and what can help you and devise a plan that can help you. Strategy. It's not the social stuff anymore. It's really all about building an IT program, a network that in fact, with its tools and its software, that in fact can help you grow and prosper. Reality number 6, the last one. It's all about working 9 to 5, and it's not a way to make a living, as Dolly Parton used to say. Now, the modern workforce is built around the industrial age, and the industrial age has got rigid and rigorous and inflexible laws, especially in Australia, that can hold you back. And so therefore, we as employers tend to use the laws as they are, have a 9 to 5 system Monday to Friday, when indeed the market wants more flexibility. Not only the market, your members, but also your staff. Your staff are wanting to have some flexibility in what they do, and if you do think about flexibility, you will see that productivity increases. Now, sometimes the laws don't allow you to have that flexibility, but what I'm suggesting to you is that you can use independent contractors. Independent contractors can be bookkeepers, accountants. Well, we use those for auditors now, don't we? So there's a whole range of independent contractors that can come in at less cost, more productive, and give you more flexibility. But at the same time, your employees, now I had an employee that was commuting an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening. And what I did with her was that I set up an office with her at her home which cut out that 3 hours of travel every day. She was immensely happy with that process, and her productivity increased. And I would get her into the office on Wednesdays each week, and on the other days she would spend that at home looking after her children. Much, much happier. Childcare costs were reduced, travelling costs were reduced, productivity increased. And I think if you start trusting your staff and start giving them some flexibility, modern IT programs, remote IT programs can help you develop a very flexible workplace. And the days of the mass labour member associations, I think, are long gone, and we have to have a critical eye about the productivity and the use, if you like, of our wonderful staff. But we have to be pragmatic about this and start thinking about how we adapt and adopt to the new markets. So things like working remotely, things like working at home, things like flexibility in hours, independent contractors, the use of IT, all these sorts of things can help you, and I'm suggesting that you address it in some significant way. Now, I also want you to think about this. Industrial relations law means that you have to be on top of your paperwork. So there's a lot of software programs out there at the moment that can help you with managing your staff, and I recommend that you look at them, and I recommend that you adopt them. The old ways of doing things are long gone. Protect yourself by having some good software. My advice is also to you is to consult with your staff, try and ask them about flexibility, encourage them to think about flexibility, and you'll find that productivity will increase, and you'll find that you'll have, I think you'll have a happier staff. The social aspect of having a staff is a good one, but I think at the same time you need to be able to think about flexibility. So keep an open mind about all that, and as I said, have a critical eye about your staff model, and perhaps make some changes. Well, that's it. That's the 6, and they help me. They've helped others that I've dealt with as well. Hopefully, they can help with you. And they're all in the book below if you push on the tab. Number 1, survival needs strategy. What does yours look like right now? Are you in fact got a strategic plan? And if not, I know it's hard work. I know planning's difficult, but if not, what are you doing about it? Number 2 was all about attitude, and the attitude we have towards change, and the attitude towards the market, and just attitudes generally. What are our attitudes, and are we prepared to change them? Number 3, if you remember, was around about membership and the diminishing membership, and the challenge we have of providing a relevant service to our members on an ongoing basis. Otherwise, membership will go down. We know that. We just need to face up to that reality. Number 4 was all about social media. And it's not how we feel about it, remember, it's about how our members and our market feel about it. So that's why we have to address it, get focused on it, and start using it. The 5th reality, number 5, was about IT and using the tools and the devices that are currently in the marketplace, and you'll be surprised how cheap they are and how good they are. And that goes back to the change and the attitude towards change. And number 6 really is all about our business model and our labour model, and how we approach the way of reducing costs, maintaining flexibility, and at the same time increasing services to our members. You have to have a look at your labour model and get some flexibility in there. Now that's it. Planning's very difficult. Planning is hard. I know it's hard. And I know that a lot of folks avoid it. They want to do it, but they're too busy working in their business as opposed to working on their business. But I know that if you do the right planning, that growth and prosperity will follow. I know it. I know it because I've done it. I know it because I've seen others do it. And I know if you do it, so too with you, and you'll get good results. Now, speaking of results, we also do an annual survey, and I've got a button below that is keen to get an indication from you as to what your attitude and what your confidence is for 2015. It's a survey monkey, so feel secure about that. It's 10 questions. It's really about understanding how your attitude is towards 2015, what your confidence levels might be, and how you're currently reading the market, which is important for us to measure, I think. What we plan to do is analyse the results, get a report done by the end of February, maybe early March, and we'll send you a copy to see what your peers are thinking about the market as well. You are a leader, and your opinion's important to not only us but also the community. And what we want to do is get that opinion out into the marketplace so you're listened to. And it's important, I think, for that to happen. Look, you have a very important role to play. You're a leader of a member-based association. People are relying on you. The burdens are great. But if you start looking at these 6 realities facing it, getting involved in some strategic planning, then I think that burden will be slowly lifted, or at least shared a little bit. And that's why I've written the book. It's only around about 15 pages. It asks you some questions. It challenges you with some questions, and it probably provides some recommendations for you to follow. Now, it's there to provoke some thought. So, when you're having a cup of coffee, have a read through it and see what you have to say about it. It's really about developing your business, your job, your role, and helping your organisation grow and prosper. Now, don't forget, just by pushing that button, go straight to a PDF. There's no other links through. And of course, if you could help us out while doing the survey, we would also appreciate it. Now, don't forget, 2015 is going to be a challenging year for all of us. I know that. But it's going to be a great year for all of us as well. And never ever forget the role that you play. You're a leader of your organisation. You are appreciated, although I know a lot of people probably tell you that. But you are appreciated, so never forget that. And as you go through 2015, knowing that you are appreciated and doing some hard work, be authentic, be honest, and be excited. And until next time, have a look at the survey, download that ebook, and let's get into 2015. See you later.